Look, the reason why you decided to become a coach or a consultant is because you want that reoccurring revenue. You want that money that pays you when you sleep. But if you're stuck selling one-off courses, consulting packages, and you want to build real monthly revenue, this is for you. We launched a business that went from zero to $500,000 in monthly reoccurring revenue in under 6 months. And we flipped it from being an entirely education business. We did this by completely rethinking the offer, the model, the sales process, and I'm gonna break down exactly how we did it step by step in this video. You're not gonna wanna miss it. If you're new here, my name is Javi Chavez, and we have sold over $40 million worth of info products, education. I've hired and fired hundreds of salespeople, operations on the back end, built SOPs, processes. So if you're looking for the real deal, nitty-gritty tactics, you're in the right place. So here's the biggest problem with coaching and consulting is you're always chasing the next sale. Once you land a client, even if they're paying you monthly, you are always chasing the next one because you know that the second that they get the information, they're gonna move on and they're never gonna wanna pay you again. This happened to us for years. From 2019 to 2024, we had zero subscription revenue. And we knew that we were always hunting for the next sale, meaning if our sales team did not close more revenue this month, even though we would have $1 million months, $800,000 months, the next month we could possibly be at zero if we didn't keep on feeding the beast. That's a really scary place to be for a business. And that's where monthly reoccurring revenue, if you aren't thinking about this concept, about how I can actually walk away from my business and not have to worry about making additional sales, you're not thinking about your business in the right way, and you will always just have a high-paying job, even if you have salespeople closing for you. The challenges are it's so hard to maintain because churn is brutal. Like, no one's gonna wanna renew for a second year with you in your program, or if you're a consultant, once you've given the information, because your value's gone. And the hardest part too is we would see people that we would coach, make successful, and give all these resources and tools and software. And I would see people cancel our coaching and still keep all the softwares, tools, and resources and run their business every single month because we taught them too well. So here's the biggest nugget. I should really wait until the very end of this video to give it, but here it is. Once we stopped thinking like educators and trying to add additional calls or how do I make the coaching better? Or how do I make my students more successful? I started thinking like a service provider. I took a look at all the options and all the things that we were recommending our students use. What CRMs were we recommending? What tools, what software, what service providers? And how could I start bringing those things in-house? Because our students were gonna use it anyway. So why shouldn't they just go through us? So this is what we did. We started white labeling our CRM. We white labeled other software tools. We offered lead generation. So now, if they're successful, they're gonna be buying leads from us forever. This expanded our LTV. Additionally, we're in the real estate space on our education side, so we offered lending. So if they're actually doing deals, we're gonna fund their deals every single time they do a transaction. That is true value, and that is how we build lifetime value. It expanded upon the coaching. The coaching actually turned into the bonus. People were coming for the leads, the tools, the software, and then they realized, well, hey, I'm gonna coach you on how to do it. And also, here's the biggest thing. People have never been more skeptical. Nobody wants to buy another course. Nobody wants another coach. They want the tools. So once we can pivot the marketing to say, hey, I'm gonna give you all the leads, the software, the resources, we're a platform, and then also, I'm gonna coach you one-on-one, it's a no-brainer offer. So the services delivered actual tangible return on investment, and then the coaching just kept them sticky, because we all know that they actually need the coaching. They need to learn how to use the stuff. But in their mind, we're selling to their perceived problem. This is huge, guys. We're selling to their perceived problem, not their actual problem. Their actual problem is they need coaching, they need to figure out how to do it. But their perceived problem is, well, I need the software, the tools, the leads. We solved both. The people who cancel your coaching are still gonna be paying service providers for the thing. So you might as well become the service provider because you are leaving money on the table. If you can't bring these things in-house in the form of a white label, you need to start looking for affiliate deals, other partners. Just figure out how you can make money residually on the information that you're giving, because we live in the information age. With ChatGPT, with YouTube, like, information is getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, and the only people who become service providers are the ones who are going to survive in this space. Then we moved to phase 2, which was building the infrastructure. Sales is easy. Retention is the hard part. So before we tried to scale anything, we built in retention systems like client onboarding automation, making sure that they actually come in and get wins as quickly as possible. Because if they don't use the services, they're going to churn out. And so we had to start thinking like software providers and SaaS companies, like, well, how do we start reducing churn? We had way better onboarding experiences. We had one-on-one training and support. I repurposed some of my salespeople to be account managers, and now they're focused on expansion revenue. They're focused on bringing more revenue out of that client, because if we get our clients to win, which should be the goal for everybody, they're gonna start spending more money on leads, wanting software upgrades, and we are gonna be the ones to provide it. So now our lifetime value of a customer has expanded so significantly by just improving our back-end process, but most importantly, having valuable things that they're gonna need anyway. If you've ever heard the phrase, second money is easier than first money, it is so true, right? Before you start worrying about, oh, I need more leads, think about how I can expand my revenue with the existing people who have already paid me. That is the fastest lever to pull if you already have an existing client base. What are the other services and things that they need? And how can I be the person to provide it for them? Because they already know, like, and trust me. So if you are in a cash crunch right now, don't worry about where can I find additional revenue. Start thinking about how can I extract more value out of the current customer base that I have. So my biggest piece of advice for somebody right now is don't scale until you fix your retention problem. Until you are able to extract more revenue out of your existing customer base, don't worry about acquiring new customers. Make sure that you can extract everything that you can and provide as much value as humanly possible and get wins, because wins turn into testimonials, turn into referrals. Next was phase 3 and fixing the actual model. I fired my salespeople and my revenue went up. The truth is, the traditional customer acquisition model for most coaches and consultants is flawed. Paid traffic, VSL, book a call, to now a sales call. What we did is we flipped it on its head. We moved to a straight webinar only model. So what we did is we put our best people in the game, meaning myself and our CEO. We run our webinar. We are pitching directly one to many. And that eliminated the need for a sales team. I have a full video on this, by the way, so you can click the link below and you can see the entire video breaking down that entire strategy and how we don't run any paid traffic to a VSL anymore. The short version is we moved away completely from the VSL model. I eliminated the need for appointment setters. I reduced our overhead on the sales side significantly. And now I'm able to run a daily recorded webinar, selling tickets to a 3-day workshop. At that 3-day workshop, I sell our services and our education bundled into one, and our conversions have never been higher. And we're even marketing to a cold audience now. These are the key mistakes to avoid with this entire model. Number 1, don't rely on customer acquisition. Build systems around delivery and retention. Additionally, don't just default to outsourcing to affiliates to offer and just getting a 15, 20, 30% kickback. Really put some deep thought into how can I offer white label systems so that way it is one closed ecosystem and you're gonna make way more money. My challenge to you after this video is write down all the things that your clients need and then start reaching out to those businesses and figuring out how you can be a white label provider and just bring everything in to your ecosystem. If you're a business owner and you're stuck between $30,000 to $100,000 in monthly revenue, I know how it feels. It sucks. You feel like you're spinning your wheels. You're trying all these different things. If you want serious help building up, scaling your revenue from somebody who's actually done it, click the link below. I would love to chat with you. I know I can help your business. Peace.